one half of Two Blondes on a Build. Welcome back to this Two Blondes on a Build video blog series. In the last episode we shared with you our house design and we showed you how we overcame some logistical difficulties of getting our building materials up our very steep hill. In this episode we're going to show you how we framed up our ground floor. But before we do, we just want to give a big shout out to all of you subscribers. We want to give you a big thank you for subscribing and liking our videos and your comments, your kind words of encouragement. We really do appreciate it. So sit back, relax and enjoy.
Well, hi there folks. So today we just finished putting on all our rim plates, and I was all set to start framing the floor, and I went down to get some of our tie par that goes over the rim plate and under the floor. It's going to slide it in place, and I found a roll of 6mm poly, just an 18-inch wide roll, and I thought, what's this for? So I looked up in our little materials list, and it says it's for wrapping the sill plate. And of course the sill plate was already on. And you know, the sill plate is treated wood. It has a plastic liner that goes between the sill plate and the wall. And I'm thinking, why do we have to wrap it? Well, I called up a couple of contractors I know, and they all said the same thing. Yep, you got to wrap your sill plates. And I said, isn't that a little bit overkill? And they said, well, you know, this is BC. So here we are, folks. We're condomizing our sill plates. I took the boards off, or most of them are off now. And yes, indeed, we have covered our sill plates in plastic. We've taped them all up. We put them back on, or at least about half of them now, and we'll finish the rest tonight.
And guess whose gift wrapping skills have really come into their own?
That is true. Sarah's doing a great job folding the corners and edges so that we can have this a tight fit. We have 2 beams across our crawl space basement area here. As you can see, we'll probably walk into it if we if we raise the floor at all. We have to raise it some, but we never thought we'd have headroom, and I think we will have quite a bit of headroom in the middle. So basically it's a 3-ply 2x10 beam, and it's leveled to the top of the sill plate so that the floor joists, when they're sitting on the sill plate and the beam, are level. So we built these yesterday, and there's 2 of them, and yes, they are, wow, level. It's getting there. We still have a little adjustment to do and some playing around for levels, but we've got a floor, and I had to get it there because my captain wife said, you don't get it done, you're walking the plank. Actually, this is the main support beam for the house, and we'll go right up to the attic. But for now, hey, there's actually some plywood. It's getting there. floor is slowly getting together. A few things I thought I'd point out. We have these cross pieces along the way. I put them every 6 feet. You can go as wide as 7 feet. And they just keep the floor from being wobbly. They keep the boards where they're supposed to be. The beam in the middle, the center beam, is a support beam that goes right through with posts all the way to the main beam in the roof. So it's quite strong. We've tied together all of our floor joists with Simpson nail plates, and they are designed to strengthen the wood. When I finish this side, which I haven't finished nailing yet, they'll have a plate on either side, and it really is as strong as crossing the boards over. So that's it. Right now I'm putting the plywood down. So we glue the plywood we put glue on the joist, and then drop the plywood on and drop it into place. And it sounds easy, but it's got to fit into the groove, and we hammer it in and then nail it. And because we're in an earthquake zone, all edging is done with a nail every 3 inches. The main part of the panel is nailed with a nail every 6 inches. And that gives us a lot of lateral strength if the house shakes, which it can do in this area. Hopefully that will keep it from breaking up. We can try anyway. Our first little wall. It was a bit of work, but it's been put together, even though I'm still full of staples from my hernia operation. But I wanted to get started on this, and Sarah and I managed with a bunch of lifts over a period of about an hour to get this wall straight up and down. Now what happens next, we have these things that are called hold downs. Now, what I have to do is place this on the inside of the beam, but it'll be like this, and nailed on with, it's about 20 3.5-inch nails go in that. And then, once it's in place, we drill down through into the cement and have to set a 5/8 threaded bar right through and cement it in with epoxy into the cement. There on this wall, there's actually 3 of them. One will go on this side connected to the other wall. One here, if you can see my hand, and there. And then there's another one that goes on the other end with the connecting wall. So this little jog at the top of the wall is where the beam comes across from the other side of the house. So when I frame up that wall, we'll put the beam on top, and that'll be the start of our post and beam construction. And now, thank you, Lone Tree, for your ginger cider. We need it.
Cheers!
Cheers. Sarah's moving a beam for me. Here she goes. 1, 2, 3. And one more time.
Hello. Look at that technique. Downward gopher, a new yoga position. Mind your feet.
Done.
What you doing, Captain?
Trying to figure out how these damn things work. Doesn't make sense. Ah. Slow but steady gets the wall standing. We started by winching it off the floor with a cable come along. Now we've got it up this high. We're just walking it up a little corner at each time, and soon we'll have it against the blocks that are keeping the wall from falling off the floor, and we'll tighten it up, and that'll be our third wall up. The connector wall is in, so now we have the whole back wall and our entryway. This is the wall of the kitchen window. This is our utility room in here. So the wall for the utility room runs across here and connects here. And then this will be our
Downstairs toilet,
two-piece. And we're getting there. Maybe a little over a third of the way. So for those sharp-eyed folks that notice there seems to be a stud missing, there is. Matter of fact, there's two studs missing here. We have to put hold downs in. They have to be nailed on the outside plates. So it's a lot easier to leave the studs out till after. The same thing with this side of the window. If you notice, there's no board on it. There will be when we finish, but there is a hold down that goes on this beam or this post down into the cement. I think I've shown you hold downs, but I'll show you one again. This is what a hold down is. It has a hole for a 5/8 bolt that goes through here. And what we do is we place it on the wall about 2 inches above the bottom plate. And that will have a rod that goes right down into the cement. The rod will go into the cement 6 inches, and then it comes up through the floor joists and stuff. So it's about a 2-foot rod that goes through there, and we put a minimum of 32, will probably be closer to 40 hold downs on this house.
And can you explain why the hold down bracket is 2 inches above the bottom plate?
For those who don't understand physics, the hold down has to be above the bottom plate so you can actually put tension on it. Otherwise, you'd just be pulling on the bottom plate and the wall would not be pulled down. So basically what we're doing is we put it above the bottom plate, and then we put pressure on it that pulls the beam into the bottom plate and the blocks that are solid blocks underneath, so that in effect you're tying the walls to the cement floor, or the cement walls. The morning wall is up. One more to go today. All chained up, held in place. We'll build this wall next. Sun's gone behind the mountain a little bit, so it's actually cooled off. It's been pretty hot today. I managed to get this wall up, and you'll notice there's quite a big opening here. Well, that's because we have French doors going in here, and in this house we will have 4 sets of these doors. 3 on this floor on the front wall and 1 on our top floor on our balcony area. So we'll have lots of light coming in. Here I am sitting, have a cold one, and all of a sudden I hear a bang and I look up. She's got the damn wall in place. Another wall up. It's been a long, hot day. I'll try and do another one this evening when it cools off. But this may look like a door, but it's actually a window. There's a bar that goes across here, but I have to put the hold downs in first and drill them into the cement. And then there'll be another 2x6 in here someplace at the 16-aught center. And so there we are, another wall up. The top of the wall here, you can see there's a beam that goes across all the way to the other side of the house. So here we are now. We got this wall up. I had most of it framed the other day, but it's a mirror image of the last wall I did, so it does have a board to go in here and a few extra studs, but it'll get done once we put the hold downs in. So we'll continue framing. I'm going to frame the outside wall here today and hopefully get that done. And we're slowly starting to clean up and get some of the small pieces of wood and stuff out of the way. Then we'll set up our screen tent on this floor for some guests that are coming over the next well, almost month. We're having guests in and out, so they'll have a place to sleep with a foamy mattress on a piece of plywood. It's not a real bed, but it's comfy enough. And anyway, it'll be nice to have some friends over. The second of our 4 French doors that face south on our house. The wall is framed up, the 2 side walls are tied together, and now it's just a matter of doing the living room walls, which are next. There'll be another big door like this on the south wall. 1 window there, 2 windows back there, and the house is framed on the main floor. Second floor is a half floor, so the walls are actually 4 foot 3/4 of an inch on the back and about 1 foot on the front. Quite a slope on the roof, and lots of space for solar panels. There it is. This here, spacer. I'll put this on. I have to cut this one down about that far. So there she goes. That's what she'll sit like. She'll look like these over here. So basically, folks, 20 nails, and you got a hole down. That's after you've drilled it into the cement. You should crank on the nut and tighten it up, and it's not going anywhere. It's been a few days since we reported anything, but we did build 2 walls in the last couple of days. This one here, you can see 2 3-foot by 64-inch high windows. And we built one of the center walls in the house. We should be able to start putting our beams up, which we have to bring in before I finish the last wall. We also have to bring in the fireplace. It's 600 pounds. And I will drop it on the floor here with the excavator, and then we'll have a company come in and install the chimney and stuff. That's mandatory in order to get fire insurance. So that's one thing I'm not allowed to do, but we're getting there. Just the one wall left to do, and we've got a main floor. This is the divider wall between the kitchen up here and our utility room. There'll also be a wall across here, and we're going to have a 2-piece bathroom in here. And as we step out through the hallway, this area here will be a closet for the main entry. And today we did this little piece of wall. It's the 12th section of wall that we put up. We have 4 more small sections to go, and the house is blocked in. Now that the stove is up here, or the fireplace, we're all set to go. Tomorrow, hopefully, I'll finish the framing here, and then we put some beams up and start working on the second floor, maybe. Well, we have to sheet the plywood first and do the hold downs that are left, get everything done. But within 4 or 5 days, I think we'll be putting a second floor on. Well, boys, it's called Beam Me Up, Scotty. And there she is. Winched it up, dropped it on the wall. We're all set for the next beam. Hello folks. Well, I thought I'd explain our winch. You'll be seeing it off and on through the posts in the build, and I was trying to decide how was I going to get these beams up, and I looked at all sorts of rental equipment and heavy lifts, and then I saw this for $69 at Home Hardware, 1,500 pound capacity boat winch. You hook it on a trailer, you pull a boat on it. Pretty simple. I thought, okay, if I bolt it down, I do this, I do that. I built myself a winch for $70 that has lifted all the beams in the house. You'll have to play around with it a bit. You got to make sure the handle clears your supports on the scaffolding. Things like that. You don't want it to get too over one end because you don't want to be toppling over. But I found this to work very well. It's a little frustrating at times, but you know what? We got all the beams up, and no one got hurt. You stay out from under the beam, please, unless you absolutely have to get under there and then be ready to jump. That thing would kill you if it hit you. But we got them up, and it worked.
Running into double strapping.
I'm just getting it past a bolt. Hang on. There you go. Yeah. Yep. It's stuck on me. And there. How was on that end?
No.
Not yet. Nearly there now.
Hold on.
You want that leg?
Lower that end down a bit.
Okay.
Lift these things up. We're going to have to move. Maybe actually what we can do is get it the other way.
I think you might have to put that leg on first. The end. Are we going to have to roll forward? No, that's right.
Yeah, hold on a second. It's,
50. Like it off?
now,
Yeah, because you want to roll forward, don't you? Or do you want me to steady it?
forward a bit. Yeah.
Yay! Wow, it's in.
Now,
That's right against it, yeah. No way. But we're going to get these in.
now we're going to get the other end up. I wonder if we can get enough turn to do that. Don't push.
No, okay.
Because what you're doing is,
Yeah,
if
alright.
anything, you've got to pull down. Now we can slide in.
We can climb up here and steady that end.
Stay there.
Yeah, it's in. Okay.
I'm actually thinking it will go the other way, but we'll see, honey.
Well, it's just to be in parallel with it. I mean, not in parallel with it.
Yeah, I know it's we're on that edge, but I'm thinking of a half inch of plywood either side
Yeah.
on the corner.
Is that good?
Well, she's there.
Fantastic. Well done. Hooray!
now by 3 5/8, or not 5/8, 3 5/16 bolts. This is the one thing now as I get higher. No one gets underneath that beam. It falls and hits the floor and falls into the floor. I don't want it cushioned by anybody's body. Yeah. If you want to be pushing on it, you can push with the 2x4 that's laying over there, but it probably doesn't need it right now. If anything,
Just as it goes by,
why don't we push forward? About another minute. So yeah,
So you're going to use the friction with the wall?
well, no, we've got to even pull off a little bit, but the hard part is it's jamming here. And there's not much I can do about it. I actually tried to mount it differently, but they can't. No. I was just, if you had to push it, I'd rather push it than would rather than standing. Push it forward a bit, but that's all right. And see if we can push it that way into the float. Yeah, you probably have to get on that corner there.
Okay. Well done.
Now, at least if it goes, it only goes one end.
Right.
that direction. Quarter of an inch.
How much?
Quarter of an inch.
Quarter of an inch. It's probably what we're going to have to move the wall. Let's see. Oh God, it's just bad.
It's gonna go that way.
Sure.
Yeah, we're right up against the wall, so what we have to do is
Well, it's like push against that wall.
push against that wall. It'll work.
There's an eighth of an inch here.
If you push against that wall, that's one of the reasons the plywood's not on right now. You can actually move, bend the walls a bit. There we go. Saw it go in. Now,
We're gonna move it forward.
let's
So we just pull this corner.
this will go forward on this corner though.
Push in.
Okay, now I'm going to let it down.
Monday. I moved down. Yeah, no, I'm moving now with, it won't go anywhere.
I think we need a glass of lemonade.
Well, we've got the last piece of the wall up. You'll notice it's quite open. This is the back of the fireplace, and I have to build a vent box on the bottom, a box so that we can get into the venting system of the fireplace if we have to replace a fan or something like that. So if I put the box in now, I wouldn't have enough room to put the hold downs on these walls. So I'll put the hold downs in first, once I've got the walls right square, and then I'll frame up the rest of the wall with the opening box so that I can get into the fire venting system. So that's next. My wife said she wanted to do some planking. Do you think I got it right? Yep, folks, she nailed it. Yes, sir. It's a long way down. mention a few things about how to control the beams. First, you've got to be very careful to make sure that your lifting strap is right in the dead center of the beam. And this might be, you know, even when you get it dead center, you'll think, gee, it seems to be a little heavier on one side or the other. That could be just the type of wood and what's in that edge of the beam. Make sure that you've got it balanced so when you lift it off the ground, the beam sits level. After that, you want to put a strap on either end of the beam that hangs down so that as you lift it up, it can be controlled to pull it in or out on the edge of the end of the beam. This worked well with my wife and our neighbor who has come down and given us a hand when we were putting beams up, just to help adjust it. And the third thing I think is that often you'll get up so high and you think, God, you know, I've got one end over because it's slid that way. Well, if you can hold it down with the strap and pull it in place, then you can winch the other and it'll hinge up and then slide it into place that way. Works well. The winch has been real great. And again, just be careful. The beams are heavy and no one wants to get hurt.
Can I ask you what you're doing there? It looks quite complicated.
Well, we put a rain seal underneath the siding, and so you have to have these strips that go up, and so there's an airspace behind the siding, and if there's any water that gets in there, it runs down over this plastic seal, over the rim and away from the house. So it's just a way of keeping the house from ever getting any mold inside. That's the solution they came up with when they had all the mold problems years ago in Vancouver. It was collecting under the siding. So now the siding doesn't sit on the house, it sits off the house, and there's a vent. And there's actually a little piece of like screening that goes in under the siding as well.
Yeah, and what's that rim called? Does that have a particular name? That
What, the drip seal?
Oh, it's a drip seal. Yeah. Great.
This is the start of the front of our house. The front of our house is 3 balcony areas, 10 foot by 12 foot for 2 of them, and 6 foot by 14 foot for the center one. All the plates bolted to the house have to be held away from the walls, so we put in 1/2 inch treated shims. Then we drill and put in 5 inch lag bolts that go right through a double plate on the inside and of course a single plate on the outside. The end result will be a very firm and sturdy deck that will sit on our sonotubes and posts at the front with a beam across. And hopefully in the next 3 or 4 days we'll have this part done and we can go on to going up the walls. Round and round and round we go. We will not stop till who only knows, until the boards are all tight and maybe my arms will be out of sight. We're getting there. Deck is almost ready to start framing out. As you can see, I've put a ledger here. I have 44 more 5-inch slag screws to drill and then screw in. Then we'll put the same length plate in between at the end. That gives us our full 6 feet. I am going to add a second plate on the outside, so we'll actually be 6 foot 1.5. But the second plate will tie the 3 levels together and give us a very solid, firm deck. Of course, the deck also goes on posts, and there'll be a beam under the whole deck to support it. But in the end, it's getting there. These little slots are again to allow breathing behind the plate. The black tar-like stuff goes over this seal and sill plate, and it allows the water to flow away from the basement wall. And again, there'll be a second one of these on the walls above this to keep the water from flowing down. But it's all it's there just to keep you from getting dampness under the siding that causes mold. And of course, we know a lot of people are allergic to mold, and we don't want mold in our house. So that's what we're doing. We're getting there slow. We'll have the decks on hopefully by the end of the weekend, maybe Monday, and then we start on putting posts up to the next floor, getting more plywood on the house, and hopefully we can get started putting the upper floor on in a couple of days.
I'm putting ready seal on the cedar deck panels here in readiness for when we put the deck together. It's going on really nicely. It's a lovely warm tone. It's a natural cedar colour stain.
Yep, Sarah's motoring on. Soon she'll have all 60 or so planks, cedar planks, up the hill, and she's finishing them. Look at that, folks. What a beautiful job. Our soon-to-be deck getting finished. All the 5-inch lags are in. Now we can go on to building the deck out.
Knew the captain had a screw loose, but I didn't realise there were this many. He hides it well.
Cedar deck is pretty well done. I have to wait on the outside edges till I get the posts that hold up the roof that goes over the top of this deck. But we have just come out of the kitchen door. Here's the dining room door, 6-foot French door, and we come around, and of course we had to get the chairs out. And this is the living room French door. That's the fireplace sitting there waiting to get installed. It'll be a while. but we're getting there. We're going to be putting the top pieces of plywood on here tomorrow, and I'll start the entry way, which is over here a bit, and so basically we're walking around where the outside of the stairs will be, and there'll be a deck going on there starting tomorrow. That's the last nail in the top plate. Tomorrow we start putting the floor on. It's been a bit of a go. We still have lots of plywood to put on the lower floor, but real soon now we'll be all tied together with a second floor on. We'll be able to put a tarp on the second floor that we'll actually leave on even though we're framing the walls up. We'll cut it out after so that we can have at least somewhat a drier lower floor and basement, and we're on our way. One more floor and a roof.
I'll just spin round to show you that Brett's put the top plate on all the way around, the external walls and the internal walls. It's been a really good job, a lot of work. There you go, you can see top plate all the way around, looking lovely and sturdy. Great job, Captain.
And you too, kid. You worked hard today.
Well, I've been banging on again, hammering and putting the nails, the earthquake nails, in the plywood in the front entrance.
We decided to put on the front beam that goes around the front of the house. The end of this 2x10 that comes across from the house is the end of the roof line. So it, as you can see, it covers the whole deck. And when we finish, there'll be a beam right across on 4 posts. And then we can get onto the second floor.
You know it's serious when the captain takes his shirt off. We're getting the beam plates in place now.
We're just finishing off the beam that surrounds the front of our house. This beam will hold up the roof. And I thought I'd mention something. One of the most important tools for making beams. Yes, it is a cabinet clamp, but what it allows you to do is to tie the 2x10s together and bring the faces up so that everything's level on the top. And you will find with 2x10s that often a knot will create an area where the board is sloped in one way or another. And if you put the clamp on the 2x10 in such a way as it's allowing you to push it into shape and you tighten it up, you can put a couple of nails in and you have a level plank on top, which is really the important part. You want it to be level and smooth on top to hold whatever you're putting on it. In this case, there'll be floor joists. And this is our deck area that will come out to here and overlook the world, the mountain up here. Folks, I was thinking, you know, we do a lot of stuff here and I do a bit of explaining, but sometimes you just think, how did he do that? Or how does that work? Please, if you have any questions or comments, please put them in on the video in the comment section. and we will address them in a future video so that you can get your answers. And if we get enough questions, we might actually end up doing an answers video to answer those questions so that people understand how and what we were doing. At any rate, please don't feel shy to do that.
Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already by clicking on the red subscribe button below and hitting the bell for notifications when we upload new videos. The next video episode will be about framing up the upper floor. So do stay tuned for another exciting episode of Two Blondes on a Build.
Well, I've been told I burped in the last section, so I'm going to do it again. Well, I'll get it together here. Well, folks, I thought I might mention a few things about how to